Oh,
And
okay.
it's often like, could you drive here and bring my bike? You know, things like that.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Jacob, my son used to live in Gainesville, and I have visited the Cave Museum. It is really not neat museum.
Hmm.
Oh, that's awesome.
Morning.
Well,
Hi.
Marta,
Personally, I like the Butterfly Museum there, which is my favorite.
yeah, we've been to there too, and to the extension office of UF, where they also have that pond full of alligators. Of course, they have alligators on all the golf courses too.
That too.
Well, I've been to a football game. What is that stadium referred to as? The swamp?
The swamp, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ben
Swamp?
Griffin.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. Ben Griffin.
Doug, I'm not sure what you're referring to in regard to direct message. I put something in the chat window and you can highlight it and copy it if you want Carolyn's email.
Yeah, it says direct message from you, but
Well,
I don't know
I didn't send it to everybody. It should, didn't Carolyn's email show up in the chat window?
how to. Don't see it. Wait a minute, what's going on here? Something's going on.
Everybody is putting their Rotary Club and Peace Corps service in the chat window, so that could be, you might have to look around.
I don't know if you can see two of us. Where's your face, Jimbo?
There, Jimbo.
I'll just be a pop in. Hello.
Okay. And I see a fellow member of the First Coast Return Peace Corps volunteers here, Tom Byerly.
Hi,
Right.
Good morning, Tom.
good morning. How are you doing?
Oh, good. Now, I don't recall, where is it you served? Was it in Africa?
Liberia, yes.
Okay. So you'll relate to a lot of this.
In Rosemary, we have one of our club members, Marta Hartman, who has some great international experiences and is a wonderful member of our downtown club.
It's nice to meet you. I think you were with us last night as well, right?
Yes, correct.
Okay. Good, good. Well, what do you think, Steve? Should we call it? Are we ready?
Yeah, and if everybody could mute unless you're talking or asking a question, because sometimes the background noise comes through.
I wanted to start then in wishing everyone a good morning. This is the second day of the Rotary Peace Corps Week, which we call our Partnering for Peace organization. So we're going to start, I'd like to start anyway, with a PowerPoint. If you go back to showing that screen, that I realized I had very little knowledge about Africa. I really didn't. I know that there's, several countries. The list that you see is the list where there are Peace Corps volunteers currently. So that I'm going to make this larger for myself even. Sorry. Okay. Slid down a little bit. Okay. So there's 24 countries in Africa currently where there are Peace Corps volunteers serving. We're going to be talking first of all with Jacob and then also later with Micklina about South Sudan. In the map, if you look at it, it's the northeast brown country of, yes, thank you. That's South Sudan. So the countries with Peace Corps volunteers, that are closest would be Ethiopia. It's one of the red countries. And then also Uganda, also a red country over there. Later on today, we're going to be talking with Rockson Dutenya. He's over in one of the green countries over there. He is from Ghana. And then finally, we'll be talking with Ed Pettitt, who's served Peace Corps in Botswana, down in one of the yellow countries. And so all of these are distinct regions within Africa. It's, as we know, a huge continent. But to make proximity, I guess, of serving projects in South Sudan, you can see that although there are 24 countries, they may not be geographically suitable to assist with a project in South Sudan. But with that, I think we might pull this back up again later on. I wanted to go ahead and introduce Jacob Atem, who I first met in St. Augustine, Florida. I don't know if you remember, but you were speaking actually at a district conference for District 6970. And he
Yes.
told the story of being a lost boy in Sudan and how he walked, I think, 2,000 miles. And his story of getting here to the United States just so touched me. And I thought, if that was me, I would just, put my feet up and kind of chill for the rest of my life. But that's not what he's done. He's now a doctor, he works in public health, and he is, continuing to amaze me. So Jacob, I'm going to turn this over to you.
Well, thank you so much. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
I am here today with Jim Skiles from downtown, from Rotary Club of Downtown. And thank you all. Thank you for putting this amazing partnership between Peace Corps and Rotary. By the way, I'm interested later, how do you start a Peace Corps in a place like South Sudan, which is the youngest nation? But I want to start to just say thank you for sharing all this great work that you've been doing. So I'm going to start by saying the map that you just shared, which is, I don't know if you can share that map again.
Yes.
I like that map because I want to show you where I'm going to spend a little bit of my life story is. So I'm from, it used to be Sudan, now it's South Sudan. So I spend most of my time from walking to Ethiopia, back to South Sudan, to Kenya. All that area is where I spent most of my life in the early 1990s. So I just want to put that into the context when I'm gonna spend my life story. So Sudan obtained its independence in 56. And then I'm more north of Juba in Jonglei State. I was a cattle herdman. Maybe let me just share my screen real quick. And we grew up as basically a nomadic society. And I think I can share, right? Can I share my screen?
Yeah, yes.
Okay. So I grew up as a nomadic society. In another word, people move with their cattle. That's how I grew up. And unfortunately, I lost everything in early 1991, where the Sudan Armed Forces attacked my village and killed a lot of people. Family was killed. 2.5 million people have killed. And I'm just telling you that as a background. Here's the unfortunate part. It didn't stop with us. It didn't just stop with South Sudanese versus North Sudanese. Then you have the Darfur. And now you have an unfortunate event as I speak with you right now between Sudan crisis. And then you have the South Sudan crisis. And
just like your father, he saves lives every day. But he gets to come home and take you every night.
Oh, we need to mute someone. Go ahead, Jacob. Go ahead.
Okay. So the reason I'm saying this is I'm just sharing my story, but the fact of the matter is there are more lost boys and lost girls of Sudan being made. What I went through was a traumatic event. I witnessed a lot of things from being captured to my family being murdered to just walk with no food and no clothes and no water. And so by God's grace, I came to America as an accompanied minor. I did my studies there. And then I found Rotary. And this is where I want to spend some of my time of giving back. So me and Jimbo, we're doing this project. It's called Improving Water and Agriculture in South Sudan. We call it WAC. And Jimbo, I don't know if you can bring your face. We said we are brothers because we have the same father,
right.
which is
Paul Harris.
Paul Harris. And so we may look different from maybe a different mother, but we are brothers in Rotary, brothers in Christ. And as I was sharing with you, the thing that I went through are just treacherous. And there's an echo. So yeah, okay. So the things that we, the Lost Boy, went through, we've seen it all. Ages from 5 years old to 15 years old. There was about 40,000 of us that traveled, and half of us died. And so when I came to this country, I barely speak English. And by God's grace, I was in a foster care. I worked hard, got my master's in public health, Michigan State, and a doctorate in public health from University of Florida. And then I became a humanitarian to give back. Isn't that sound familiar with Rotary? I just been a young Rotarian in the last 3 years, but I didn't know what I've been doing for many years is Rotary, giving back. It's not about me anymore. It's not about the Lost Boys anymore. The sad part is it's all about the vulnerable population. This is the first clinic we built, the top here, if you can see in our clinic. And then there was a flooding. Then we built this from the camp to now we have about mobile clinic and maternal and child health. We focus on that.
Mention your organization.
Oh, and our organization is called Southern Sudan Healthcare Organization. But here's the cool part. Our district and our Rotary Club, we actually implement a project. And as you know, most of the Rotary project, unfortunately, don't go to South Sudan. It's District 9212. They actually go to Uganda and Kenya and Ethiopia. So we didn't have a lot of project, but last year, my club and our District 6970, we actually joined hands together. And we did what we call training of traditional birth attendant because there's one midwife for 39,000. And as I speak with you, and I know my colleague is going to talk about her experience later as a lost girl from Sudan. As I speak with you today, we have sent my medical staff to respond to the Sudan crisis emergency. They are now at the border. Our District 6970, we have a small funding that you see here to the right is where we did the assessment in a place called Ring. And we have 38 refugees from the Sudan that they just need water and sanitation. They need a lot of things. And so these are the current projects going on working with the Rotary right now in my district. So I'm gonna invite my brother Jimbo to talk about our project and how we met.
Thank you, Jacob. And Jacob is a very humble man. And the first time I heard him speak about his journey, it brought tears to my eyes. And he's probably one of the most courageous men I've ever met. And he's not spending time that he should really telling you about his journey and how difficult it was for them. How many years did you walk before you got to the refugees?
But close to 2 years and then 10 years in the Kenyan refugee camp, Kakuma.
So this gentleman is not only a leader, but he's learned how to survive And the time he spent there, once he was fortunate to be selected to come to the United States, and where he was raised in Michigan and started his education there, his formal college education, he actually encountered or hooked up with one of his other fellow Lost Boys, and they started this organization, Southern Sudan Healthcare Organization, to give back to his community there, especially in the area of child wellness and childbirth and for maternal care for the pregnant mothers. But he is remarkable in what he's done, and he continues to do to bring about peace in that area of the world. But our club has for many years, in fact, we're celebrating in 2 weeks our 12th year of a water project fundraiser where we recognize a business, a nonprofit, an individual or educator that's practicing good water stewardship. And in Florida, where we depend on our Florida aquifer, it's continually being I hate to use the word abuse, but we take advantage of it without caring for it as much as we should. So our Rotary Club decided to let's bring more attention to our aquifer and more attention to those folks that are helping conserve our water and teaching us how to do that. And my brother was one of the forerunners in that concept of what we do on top of the land impacts the water below. But after several years of dedicating our funds to local projects, we were looking for an international partner, and lo and behold, Jacob, we attend the same church, we started talking. I heard more and more about his organization and their need for a wash project. So we have dedicated the last 2 years and forward to all of our funds going towards a global grant that will provide necessary water for the refugees in the IDP camp of Mangala.
Yeah,
Mangala, and also to the local community. So that's where we're working together now.
And just to bring to the work that I have heard about the Peace Corps, and we say WAC. So there was a flooding. And you guys, we work with the communities as Rotarian and also with the Peace Corps. So when in this camp, when they came, when I show you, they were under the tent because that's the best thing we could afford at that time. There was a lot of dirty water and there's no clean water. So kids would actually go to the Nile and try to fetch water, and they would be eaten by crocodile. And this is the beauty of Rotary. What do? We find where the gaps are and we fill that gap. So what we did, we talked to the donors as an organization, and we were able to do one well. Well, that was not enough, as I just returned from Mangala, 59,500, because these people are also coming from Sudan crisis. And so now what we want to do, I would want to just go to our summary. And then I'm going to leave a few questions for the time. But I want to go, what we want to do with this grant is, our goal is 3 things. Number one, we build a well. And not only building the well, we will have created a greenhouse for food and nutrition aspect, because there's a lot of malnutrition right now. As I just came back, it was really difficult, where kids are malnourished, severe malnourished, women are malnourished. So you can see here, if you can see our screen, we just have 3 objectives with this one, where we say we bring hope to where it is lost to South Sudan. So our number 1 is to implement the installation of the water well with a pump to enhance the water, sanitation, hygiene for both agriculture and people for the purpose. Number 2, establish greenhouse gas for a year-round cultivation. And then number 3, we have to have a fish farming. So this is the 3 things. It's a holistic approach is what we're actually doing this fundraising for the people in Mangala. I don't know how we're doing on time, but I would love to have a few minutes left for the question. How are we doing, Rosemary? How is
We're
time
at
time?
our amount of time, but I think we probably have time for maybe one question, or is there
Okay.
anything you'd like to say in wrapping up?
Oh, that's great. So there's ways we can send you how to help. We have a pledge and a website that we create out for the grant, matchgrant.com, so people can find it there. So any questions, we will be glad to answer. Let me stop sharing. Thank you so much for giving us opportunity.
And before we move on, I appreciate all that you've done, Jacob, and Jimbo as well, that you've done an awful lot for the people of Sudan as bringing them water, and your project to do the aquaponics, I believe, and the fish farming and increasing agricultural water. I think that's an excellent project. I hope you come talk to our Rotary Club too, and I'll look forward to seeing you at the next district meeting.
Yes.
But before we move on to our next speaker, does anyone have any questions for either Jacob or Jimbo? I think you were very thorough then in your explanation, and please stay online as long as you can, because I think you'll enjoy hearing our next speaker. I believe, Rockson, are you ready?
I don't see Roxanne. I think
No, I don't see him
I think Micklina was going, but I'll send
Okay.
Roxanne a message.
All right, then I'll tell you what I'm going to do in the meantime here. We're going to put Micklina up, the lost girl from Sudan. She's now in Boulder, Colorado, and she's the executive director of Girls with Books. So Micklina, are you ready?
Micklina, are you?
Yes, I am
Oh.
ready. I can go.
Yes, you
Yes.
can share your screen if you like.
Okay. Let me share. So, is it okay now? You can see well?
You can see it.
Yes, so I'm Micklina Kenyi, one of the lost girls of South Sudan here based here in Boulder, Colorado. And the organization I'm running is called Girls with Books. And this is our mission. Our mission is to educate South Sudanese girls and women to become peace builders and positive change makers in South Sudan. This is my early years when I was still a kid back in South Sudan. I got this picture from my cousin who happened to escape, and she went through her papers and other things later on, and she found this picture and she sent to me, and it was just like so nice to see how I used to look. So yeah, then from South Sudan, of course, with the war, like Jacob has mentioned, we ran from where I was from. Originally, I'm from Kapoita. It's eastern part of South Sudan. It borders Kenya. And this is the picture of Torit. It's called Torit Garbia, a school where I attended in South Sudan. This picture, I took it when I went back to South Sudan in 2012. I went back and up to Torit to go and see the school I used to attend, and this is how it looks. Up to now, that part is still there. Nothing has been changed, and it's just the way it is from the war. So, of course, then in Torit, I ran to Juba, I went to Khartoum, I came back to South Sudan, and then from there, I ran to Kakuma refugee camp. I was in Kakuma for quite some times until when situation really turned negatively. My cousin, whom I was living with, died, left 6 kids, and I was taking care of these 6 kids. And then, of course, as one of the things people do in Kakuma, then relatives approached me to get married to someone, which I completely reject. And I said, no, I don't want to do that. And I escaped and I found my ways. I found a nun called Sister Louise Radalmaya. She was living in Kenya, in Nairobi. I wrote her a letter through a friend, and she accepted me to come and live with her in the orphanage. She runs a very good orphanage in Juja, Kalimoni, and this is a picture of me. I lived with sister there for quite some times. And of course, in my mind, I was just like, I need to go to school. I need to go to school. I need education. And I asked her to support me to go to school. And sister said, Micklina, there is no funding. The situation is not that good. And she can only afford to pay me, because then I work as a house girl and I became a manager in the compound of almost more than 300 refugees living with her, lost girls, lost boys, single moms, and some families. So I said, instead of you paying me my tuition, instead of you paying me for working in the compound, pay my tuition so that I can go to school. And we agreed, and she started really doing that. I went to school, started learning English, and of course with courses here and there. And this process for the lost girls and lost boys came up through the US Department of Homeland Security. I asked her, I said, sister, I need to apply. She helped me and applied. I came to Colorado. So this is where I was resettled. And then in Colorado, of course, I said, you know, I'm not going to end up just like that. I need to go to school. So I applied to go to CU Boulder. And I graduated in 2008 with my undergrad. And along that time, I became a citizen. And I went back to school for my graduate school, and I finished. So while doing my schooling, I also said, you know, life in Colorado was good. And in Boulder, I've seen how things are. I said, why am I the only one really enjoying this? What can I do to bring other girls from Kakuma refugee camps to come and enjoy this life with me? So then I, of course, founded a nonprofit called Community of South Sudanese and American Women. And then later on, we changed our name to Empowerment Through Education. I helped to bring with some other people, 31 girls to Boulder, Colorado, and some went to other states. And then from there, of course, I'm just like, you know, things are unfolding very, very well. This is the picture of some of the girls who came here to Boulder. We were singing, we produced a film titled The Dawn Will Break. It was, I screened through the conference on world affairs at CU. And of course, everything went well, and we started seeing the girls graduating from the university. We had one that went and worked as an aide to Michelle Obama in the White House. And I said, well, what can we do more than this? Of course, we then started going back to South Sudan and trying to help women and girls in South Sudan. And 2 years ago, we merged with Project Education South Sudan. It's a nonprofit that was doing exactly the same thing that we are doing. And we are like, why not join our hands together and really just work as a bigger organization? Why we are doing this and why girls' education is really important, because I wanted to at least start a national effort, you know, to promote girls' education in the country. We want to work towards cooperation and peace building across South Sudan. South Sudan, we have 64 tribes. And those tribes, of course, as you always know and hear from the news, there's so much conflict going on between these tribal groups. And there's so much hatred being preached by politicians who are very opportunistic and just seizing the opportunity to preach violence. And there's so much negativity against other tribes. So I said, you know, our goal is to prepare these girls to become leaders in South Sudan, you know, to help them graduate from school and then to move to the universities or to do whatever they want to do in their lives. So we are supporting girls to go to boarding schools. Currently, we have 106 girls. In our program, we have graduated more than 500 girls from high school. Why we are doing this? Because South Sudan is one of the lowest female literacy rate in the world at -29. And every kid that reaches the age of being in school, they are out of school. More girls than boys. You can see the upper picture. These are the girls and some couple boys who are just wandering around in the village, not going to school because there is no good schools. There is not even school. That day, it was July 4th, when we were celebrating independence of the US, and we had the flags, and they all grabbed one, and we took a picture, a very nice pause there with the kids, a picture of me here. And then more than half of girls are married in South Sudan before even they reach the age of 18. This is a picture of one of the girls. She just turned 16, and she had an 8-month-old baby. She's supposed to be in school, but of course she's not in school. She has a baby, and she's just taking care of that baby. So what we do, we support girls. We go to refugee camps in Uganda and inside South Sudan. In Bor, we have girls that we are supporting in 12 different schools. In Juba, we are supporting girls, 30 girls in Juba that are going to 2 different schools. One of the schools is Greenbelt Academy. And this picture was taken early this year when I was in Juba. A picture of our new board member, myself here, Dr. Lawrence. He's one of South Sudanese elders here in the US with us in Colorado. And this picture of the girls in one of the schools in Arua. So we saw the situation of girls not being able to go to school in South Sudan is really just like not good, and it's not helping. And I thought Girls with Books will be the solution to really help girls go to school and graduate. We have 5% of girls graduating high school, 5% out of the population of almost 12 million South Sudanese. This picture was taken in one of the districts in Uganda where we have 30 girls attending our program, and this is in the classroom. My hand on the corner here talking to this teacher, and then just really explaining to them the importance of being in school. This picture is taken in Bor. This is a picture of our girls who are from poor families. They are not able to attend school. They are not able to pay for their school fees. So we are supporting them to attend classes, to graduate high schools, to have the power in their hands so that tomorrow, next tomorrow, they will be able to decide what they want to do for themselves and even help their families, help their neighbors, help their communities, and help South Sudan as a whole. This picture is also the same in Bor. This is girl group. This group, we have after the school, after a classes group, that girls will come and discuss issues and debate. Currently, we are calling them Girl Leadership Circle. So they come up with topics and they discuss to bring them together and to bring them closer and to see what they can do. This is not only just discussing, it helps them improve their vocabularies. It helps them build leadership skills. It helps them really develop that confidence of speaking in front of people and presenting what they want to present. This picture is the same for the other group of girls who are developing their skills, and discussing the things they want to discuss. This is also another picture taken in Uganda of the girls in one of the schools that we are supporting them. And these girls under a mango tree, unripe mango here, they were just watching when we were going through the compound and trying to talk with the other teachers and talk with the girls. So in general, what we are doing is to help girls have a voice. That voice needs to be structured. And that structured voice will be able to advocate for themselves. There's so much problems, like I mentioned earlier, in South Sudan, and then it's difficult to address. And I realized like the only way we can really approach this is to use girls who we bring from different tribal backgrounds, put them in boarding schools, and then they attend classes there. Along the way, they started to knowing each other. They can easily reach out to their colleague and talk to, and that takes away the enmity we have, the tribal enmity that people always see. Oh, this is from Nuer, this is from Bari, this is from Dinka, this is Zande, it's not good. So the only thing I see possible is to put these girls to grow together in those boarding schools. Imagine growing together for more than 10 years, or maybe from elementary school to high school. At the end of the day, when you are to graduate, you can see the other girl as your friend, as your colleague, not as someone who is from somewhere. And of course, these girls, we put them, they learn English, apart from their tribal languages. And for the girls, for example, in Uganda, they learn the Ugandan national language, they learn English, and then they speak their tribal languages. They also speak Arabic to some extent. So it's the development that we want these girls to have. We are not approaching it through one way. So we put the girls there, and then they started acquiring all the skills that we want them to have, so that they go back tomorrow, next tomorrow after their graduation, they can participate easily in their communities. They become leaders. They advocate for women. They advocate for girls' empowerment. They advocate for their well-being, and not trying to really just suppress, the whole situation, and just like saying, okay, I'm just a woman, I can't do anything. I want them to use an example. For example, like me, I've come a long way to an extent that I can stand in front of people and talk, and I want them to have that. How beautiful is that? I want them to have financial independence, whereby they can work, they earn income, they have a voice, they can do whatever they want to do, they contribute to their household. Of course, at the end, they will be married, and they can also bring income, so that their husband might not say, well, you are just a woman. We don't want a situation like that to happen. So once a girl is educated, it has a lot of benefits, from peace building, empowerment, healthcare, and taking care of their kids, and doing whatever it needs for them to see their families thrive. So I know I've taken so many times, so long, trying to explain this. I'm happy to take any question that you might have. This is my information. Our website is here, www.girlswithbooks.org. My email is up here, my phone number. You can screenshot in case you want to reach out to me to follow up later on. I'm happy for you to do that. So I'm going to open it for any question that you might have.
Thank you so much, Micklina. You've done so much to, as they say, heal a divided world. And it's so impressive what you've done for the Girls with Books throughout Uganda and all through the area of Sudan, where you were previously, in South Sudan. And in the interest of time, I think we're going to move on, and I apologize for cutting you off, but I hope you will stay on at the end. If we have time, we will get back and ask some more questions. Steve, is Rockson on now?
I don't see him. yet,
yet.
but he just sent me a message that he's getting on in a
Okay.
few minutes.
And in the interim, then I'd like to introduce you to Alan. Are you on here? I saw you. There you are. Alan Kusanoko is a member of our Partnering for Peace board. He's logged in today from Hawaii. Is that right?
That's right. Aloha.
Aloha. Thank you. Alan, if you need any information about joining Partnering for Peace, it's an organization between Rotary and Peace Corps. You would probably send a chat there to Alan. He could be very helpful in you becoming a member.
And
Shall
also, Rosemary, sorry for interrupting, but Alan could help also use some help with furthering the partnership. Alan, do you want to just tell people what they could do to help the outreach committee?
Sure. As chair of the outreach committee, we have various activities to communicate to the rest of the world, let them know about what our organization is doing. And there are so many different ways in which we can reach out to people through Rotary, through Peace Corps, through all the different things that we do in our daily lives. And the effort sometimes gets a little diluted as we do a lot of outreach in so many different areas. But if you come back to Partnering for Peace, from there we certainly are willing to help in trying to get the word out about all the good work that is going on in the world.
Thank you, Alan. Steve, just as an order of, and maybe I should say Ed, what would you think about going next? And then perhaps we'll have Rockson online by then.
I'm happy to go next.
Okay. Next, then, I'd like to introduce you to Ed Pettitt, also a doctor. He was with Peace Corps Botswana and now is in Houston, works in public health. So I'm going to turn it over to you, Ed.
Thank you, Rosemary. I'm not quite a doctor. I'm a doctoral candidate. So I'm ABD, all but dissertation. And as soon as I finish this meeting, I'll start my dissertation. This was the only thing holding me up. No, I'm joking. Yeah, I just finished my presidential year of my Rotary Club, the Rotary Club of Houston Skyline. And so I took a little sabbatical from my dissertation, but now I'm ready to dive back in. I served in the Peace Corps in Botswana from 2006 to 2008. Then I extended for a third year. And then I got hired to work at a pediatric HIV children's clinic run by Baylor College of Medicine and Texas Children's Hospital, which brought me to Houston. I have also become the honorary consul for the country of Lesotho, another for the Kingdom of Lesotho, for another country in Southern Africa. It's actually entirely encircled by the country of South Africa. And I do a lot of work through the U.S. Department of State Community Solutions Program and Community Engagement Exchange through their International Exchange Board. And I host a lot of fellows, including from different parts of Africa in Houston. I'll actually be working on a project with one of those fellows back in their home country of Sierra Leone in December. And even though I don't have a lot of direct experience with Sudan or South Sudan, today I basically wanted to provide a list of resources for folks that do want to get involved with what Rotary and Peace Corps have done, are doing, will do in that region. And so I've compiled a link tree. I shared the link in the chat. I'm also going to share my screen and we'll go through it. Can everyone see the link tree now in the shared screen? Okay. So for the first link, I put a little video because not everyone who maybe reviews this will have had the benefit of the wonderful presentations that preceded me. So this is a short video that might explain what's happening in this Sudan region and what led up to it. But we'll skip that since we already had a great introduction. And we'll go to the section on Rotary. The first resource I want to pull up is the Rotary Service Project Center. And for full functionality, you might need to create an account on Rotary.org. But I've also done you with a favor, if you're not a Rotarian, of compiling a list of these projects in a separate Google Doc, which I'll get to in a moment. But this is the Service Project Center, and you can search for projects that Rotary clubs have sponsored or are currently sponsoring or maybe raising funds for through a global grant. You can search for them in a number of different ways, by location or by club or by district. Some projects are proposed and they're seeking global grant partners. Others are in progress. I hope you all are seeing these as I switch through them, right? So now you should see a list that has the location listed as South Sudan on the left. And then there's a list of 16 projects that have taken place in South Sudan or are currently undergoing, maybe seeking some grant partners. And if you all have a project that you're partnering with a Rotary Club on and it's not listed here, then you need to go on to the Service Project Center on Rotary.org and list your project. So the next resource on the link tree, and it's okay, is the Google Doc list. So like I said, for those who might not be able to access the full details of these projects, I've gone through and I've made a list of all the projects. So the first list is specifically projects that have taken place in South Sudan. So there's been work on providing sewing machines to a community center, donating computers, a menstrual hygiene project, planting trees, WASH and COVID projects, horticulture, establishing a peace faculty at the University of South Sudan, capacity building peace conferences, working on providing dormitories for a girls' dormitory, bunk beds and shelves for a girls' dormitory, disaster response, water projects. And then in North Sudan, we have some projects that have been relief for the Sudan floods in 2020, and also the foundation of a hospital with the Japanese Roshinantes group, as well as some other projects related to health. But also we have some Rotary projects that take place in neighboring countries, especially because there are a lot of Sudanese refugees going to places like Egypt and Uganda. And so these are some projects that have focused on providing medical services and other aid to refugees in Egypt and Uganda. Another great resource is this peace map that is actually the entire world. You can search for Rotary-related initiatives, not just service projects, but also Rotaract clubs, Rotary clubs, peace centers, and Rotary Peace Fellows if you want to network with folks that have gone through a Rotary Peace Fellowship. So here I have us zoomed in on Sudan and South Sudan. And as you zoom in closer, it provides more of these links. So already we see over here on the western side of Sudan, we have a little marker. So if you click on it, it tells you about a peace fellow by the name of Abdoulaye Jallow. And it tells you who his sponsor Rotary Club was, the district, where he participated in his Rotary Peace Center. This was at Chulalongkorn Home University back in 2007, and what he currently does. So he works with the OIC Field Unit, with the UNAMID and the African Union, which is a United Nations hybrid operation in Darfur, and what languages he speaks. And sometimes you can even go to a link that has contact information. Now, if we click on this little pie chart, we'll zoom in even more, and it'll give you the name of other resources. So there's a Rotary Club in Khartoum. Now, you might need to do some more background research to see which of these are active. Here's another Rotary Peace Fellow, Inam Haroun, and he's currently working in Khartoum with the National Council for Strategic Planning. And we have Yumiko Shinya, she is currently working in Khartoum as a program officer of innovation for UNICEF Sudan. So these are great resources to partner with folks on the ground. If you zoom down and we go to South Sudan, here we have a Rotary Peace Fellow, Francis Kabosha, who's a civil affairs officer with the United Nations mission. If you go to the pie chart and you oops, we zoom in some more. Oh, here's the Rotary Club of Juba. Again, I'm not sure if they're active, but it'll give you information so that you can follow up and find out. FHI 360 is a Rotary partner. They do work in development, education, gender, nonviolence. And let's see if it's not letting me scroll. But yeah, you can play around with this and you can get access to names of other Rotary Peace Fellows and partner organizations and Rotary Rotarette clubs that are working on the ground. And I'll go to another club in a neighboring country in a moment. Let me get to the next link.
I am going to add that Rockson is online now, so.
Okay, great. Let's see here. It makes it hard to, it blocks your links when you have the Zoom screen share on, and that makes it difficult to find where your links are. Okay, so now we're going to the Rotary Positive Peace Academy. This is something that if you're just totally lost of what can I do to promote peace, whether it's in the Sudan region or elsewhere, I would highly recommend you participate in this Positive Peace Academy. It's a series of online lectures. You get a certificate at the end. It's completely free. And it's a great model for promoting peace. Let's see. Next, we have an article about a Rotarette club that is actually in a refugee camp in Uganda with mostly Sudanese refugees. So this is an article about it. In the link tree, you'll see that I also included this YouTube video that tells you more about the club. And they're very active. So this is their Facebook page. And you can see that they posted within the past 24 hours about a project they're doing in the refugee camp with sewing machines. So they're a very active club. And this is another great way to use the power of Rotary to connect is through working with this Rotarette club that's actually in a refugee resettlement camp. Next, we're moving to the Peace Corps section. So Peace Corps the connection with Sudan is a bit more slim, but I have an exciting update that I'll give at the end. But if you look to see what Peace Corps has done in the Africa region as a whole, this is a great document that I've linked to on our link tree. This is a map showing where volunteers are currently, but if you scroll down, you'll see where the Peace Corps volunteers have been placed in the past and present. And if you scroll down to former Peace Corps posts, you'll see that there were Peace Corps volunteers in Sudan just for a couple of years, from 1984 to 1986. And they say there was a total of 8 volunteers. And if you then cross-reference this with the RPCV online directory of RPCVs that served in Sudan, you can actually get some contact info and some posts that were made by some of those original volunteers. And if you wanted to try to connect with them and hear more about their experiences. And then lastly, this is my last part. This is an exciting opportunity that's available now for a virtual volunteer. If you didn't know, back during the pandemic, Peace Corps started virtual Peace Corps appointments and missions. And so you can apply to be a Sudan country specialist with Amnesty International, focusing on Sudan. And this job, this placement was just posted back in May, and you have until December 31st to apply. So if you want to be a Peace Corps volunteer, you want to do another tour of service, a virtual tour of service with a organization that's working in Sudan, this is your opportunity to work with Amnesty International. So I will leave it at that. And I don't know if I have time for any questions, but I'll pass it over to you, Rosemary.
Thank you again, Ed. You're always a wealth of information. And I hope that yes, exactly. Waving hands, that's for sure. When I hope all of you get Ed's information. I think, did you put it in the chat?
I will put it in right now.
Okay, because he is the wealth of information for anything you need to know about what's happening in Africa right now. And I do appreciate all the information you've got to share, and probably much more. But in the interest of time, we're going to move on to, well, first of all, I wanted to say hello again to Carrie Golden. Did I see that you were on? You joined us last night from Rotary, and she's the Peace Corps to Rotary link. She and her partner on the other side, Ted Adams, who's the Peace Corps to Rotary, and Carrie's Rotary to Peace Corps link.
Thank you so
Carrie,
much,
you want to say a
Rosemary.
word or two?
Sure, I'm in a shared office space, so I'll be brief, but very nice to hear all of the new projects going on, and I'm really happy that the Rotary and hopefully Peace Corps maybe could connect into this conversation. I'll drop my information into the chat, and I look forward to learning with you all, but please reach out if I can help make connections or think through ideas about ways to partner or service fellowship activities we can take on with our Peace Corps partners. Thanks so much, Rosemary.
Thank you, Carrie. And Steve, just to clarify before, this is being recorded, and so it will be posted hopefully on our Partnering for Peace website.
Yes, in a few days.
And with that, then I'm going to introduce Rockson Dutenya. I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name. He's with the Ghana Peace Corps staff. And there's volunteers there working currently in agriculture, education, and health. Please welcome Rockson.
Thank you, Rosemary. And I'm privileged to be on this session with all of you, experienced Rotarians and Peace Corps volunteers and development practitioners. So Rockson, I've been with Peace Corps full-time for the past 2 years, but then I've also been consulting for Peace Corps for the past 10 years prior to joining Peace Corps. And so I've been working in water and sanitation sector and other development areas. I met my first Peace Corps volunteer in 2007 when I was implementing water and sanitation projects in an area that was devastated by guinea worm. And so there was a Peace Corps volunteer in that community, and then I'll go and leave the materials with the volunteer, and then the volunteer will supervise the work. And within 3 months, we're able to build 98 household toilets. This was unprecedented. And so as far back as 2005, I saw the value in Peace Corps volunteers. And so working on a Peace Corps, on a Rotary project as a WASH consultant, I got to see the value, the connection between Peace Corps and Rotary. And as a result of that, I joined Rotary, and now working with Peace Corps full-time, I think I'm in a good position to be able to connect the two organizations, how we can leverage our strengths to impact our communities. So I'll be sharing my slide.
Please.
Roxanne, you should be able to share.
Okay. Please, can you see my screen?
Not yet.
It says you're trying.
Yes.
Oh. It looks like
Steve, you have to stop sharing.
I'm not sharing. Ed, were you sharing?
Okay.
No, it looks like the gentleman is sharing, but he's showing his Zoom screen. So I think you might need to go back and share a different application.
There you go. What just?
Yeah, so now try to share screen again, and then it should give you a list of options. You need to click on your PowerPoint.
Oh, yeah.
There we go.
Yes. So thank you very much. Yeah, so as I said, I currently work with Peace Corps Ghana as the program manager for health. Under the health program, we implement water and sanitation. and water and sanitation is a key component of Peace Corps Ghana's program. Much as we have education and agri programs, we have a lot of volunteers implementing water and sanitation projects. And just before this meeting, an education volunteer approached me, wanted to talk to me about a borehole project that he wants to implement in his community. So I told him that we can have that conversation after 5 p.m. Yeah,
If you want to make these full screen, you can click on the slideshow button in the bottom right-hand corner next to the minus sign.
Okay. Yeah, so I'll talk about the link between basic needs and peace, and then the role of Rotary and Peace Corps, and then take a few questions.
Okay.
Yeah, so I have this picture that I took from one of our sites in the northern region of Ghana. And on the signage, you can see Rotary Club of Ledyard, and they can also see Peace Corps. So this is a volunteer site, Peace Corps volunteer site, where they partnered with Rotary clubs to implement a mechanized water treatment plant. And so for me, partnering for peace is something that we must all embrace. I read about this partnership in 2019, and I wondered why it's not in Ghana. And so I started asking questions and exploring more about it until Ivan came around. And then we got in touch with Ivan, and then Ivan connected me to the wife, and then to this a wonderful group that I'm engaging with now. And so this partnership, Rotary Peace Corps partnership, provide this unique opportunity for Rotarians and Peace Corps staff, volunteers, and RPCVs to partner together in service. And it's amazing how it works. I have partnered with one retained Peace Corps volunteer whose father is a Rotarian, and how he raised monies to implement water projects in Ghana. And currently, we have some retained Peace Corps volunteers who just finished serving, and then they have ongoing projects that Peace Corps, the Rotary clubs in her region are willing to take up and complete. So how can we address basic needs as a way of promoting peace? And so between Peace Corps and Rotary, we leverage local knowledge and global networks. So Peace Corps volunteers, they live right in the communities where they serve. They gain a deeper understanding of local challenges, local needs, and the cultural dynamics. As a result, they're able to bring this to bear in project implementation. And we know Rotary clubs or Rotarians want to implement sustainable projects. And that is why in Rotary we do needs assessment. So where we have Peace Corps volunteers working on the ground as backing stock, we can be sure that we can implement sustainable projects. And then we're also looking at ensuring equitable access to resources. Through joint project, Peace Corps and Rotary can provide vital resources like clean water, sanitation services, healthcare, education, and other interventions that will bridge the equity gap. As a result, we'll be promoting peace, because lack of access to resources can be a potential conflict issue.
I think the slides are not advancing. Would you be able to click onto the second slide, or as Ed mentioned, there's a little, it looks like a box on top of a tree or a little stand.
Wow.
That would move you to the full screen.
Yes, I'm in full screen.
Oh, you are? Okay. Then I think we need to see the next slide.
Which slide are you seeing now? Link between addressing basic needs and peace?
Okay. No, I just see the
So
first
we're only seeing the first slide because you're probably in your PowerPoint application. You need to be in your Zoom application and working through Zoom. So go back to your Zoom and then make your Zoom full screen, and then you'll be able to click on your slides within Zoom.
Okay.
And then if you make this full screen with that button down there, lower right-hand corner.
Yes.
Yep, right there. Perfect.
Please, can you see full screen now?
I think it's probably still loading, but we can see your next slide now.
But I do see it says water treatment plant. Opened in 2020.
Yes, so that's the second slide.
Okay, good.
So that's the water treatment plant that I mentioned that Peace Corps volunteers implemented jointly with the Rotary Club in the northern part of Ghana in 2020. And this project is still functioning and serving their communities. As a result of this collaboration, we've placed another Peace Corps volunteer in that community, and they are working on sanitation and school health interventions. Is my second screen showing? My next slide showing?
No, not yet.
Are you in Zoom still?
Yes.
Just be selecting them from the thumbnail. If not, you have to exit and then project the slide itself.
Okay.
Be clicking on the pages from the thumbnail.
There we go.
By the left, yeah.
Yep, now it's good.
Okay, so I should do it from this side, the left?
That works.
Yes.
Okay, so we still have the side window display.
Yeah, now it says link between addressing basic needs and peace.
Yes. So, yes, so I was talking about how addressing basic needs will promote peace. And this is where Rotarians and Peace Corps volunteers bring their strength together to promote peace. And it's interesting to hear a lot of people ask this question: you are Peace Corps, but there's no conflict in Ghana. So what are you promoting? So that gives us the opportunity to highlight the connection between addressing basic needs of people and peace promotion. So I was talking about how we leverage local knowledge and global networks when Peace Corps volunteers and Rotarians come together to work for peace. And so because Peace Corps volunteers live and work in communities, they gain deeper understanding of local challenges and the needs of the people and the cultural dynamics. They're able to bring that strength to the development table. And with the global network of Rotarians, we're able to mobilize resources and funding and also technical expertise to address the felt need of the people. And by so doing, we contribute to peace building. But when people live harmoniously and they have equitable access to resources, then it doesn't give rise to a lot of conflicting situations. Right. Now, ensuring equitable access to resources. Joint projects implemented by Peace Corps Rotarians can provide vital resources, like the clean water that I talked about, the project that was implemented. This could not be implemented by just Peace Corps volunteers, but by leveraging their resources, they were able to provide this intervention that provided water services to water and sanitation services to a community that has been neglected, kind of. So this intervention will bridge the equity gap and then provide social services to marginalized communities. By doing that, we'll be promoting peace among the communities and the people in general. Equitable access reduces inequalities, which are often drivers of conflict. And then they can build trust within the communities, and then it will foster a more peaceful environment where community members can coexist and be more productive. Now we're talking also about building sustainable community solutions. Peace Corps volunteers work at grassroots level to ensure that projects are community driven. And Rotarians or Rotary clubs also ensure that needs assessments are done before projects are implemented. Typical of Rotarians in Ghana and maybe parts of West Africa, we do not implement projects right in our communities where we live. So we implement projects in communities outside of have original communities where we reside. And so having Peace Corps volunteers who live in these communities, having better understanding of the community needs and the socio-cultural dynamics, we are able to leverage our strength and then implement projects that are sustainable, projects that address the very needs of the people. And so we work together to ensure that the felt needs of the community members are addressed. So Rotary clubs offer technical assistance, and then the funding that are required, or the funding options that are required to support this project implementation. So by creating sustainable solutions, communities are less vulnerable to crises that may trigger conflict. Currently, we're having dry spell in the northern part of Ghana, and some of the indicators that are coming out point to the fact that we're going to have water crisis. There's going to be pressure on community resources, and these are likely to trigger conflict. And so if Rotary and Peace Corps volunteers are able to intervene, we can confidently say that we'll be able to contribute to peace within those areas. Now, Peace Corps and Rotarians addressing the basic needs of communities will foster economic development. And within Peace Corps and Rotary, we have economic development interventions. And so where we collaborate and focus on improving access to basic needs, and then economic activities, empowering women with some economic or income generating skills that will ensure that women who are vulnerable, women who are neglected, are empowered economically, and they can actually insist on their rights because they are economically empowered. They will not be over-reliant on men or other vulnerable people who will take advantage of them because of the vulnerable situation in which they find themselves. So as economic conditions improve, poverty-driven conflict will eventually be reduced, creating a more peaceful and resilient communities.
Thank you.
And then we can also talk about promoting health and preventing crisis. With this, I can talk about guinea worm in Ghana. So in the late 90s and early 2000s, we experienced guinea worm infection as a national public health crisis. And so I remember very well that Peace Corps volunteers were stationed in remote areas where even public workers were not willing to serve, and they contributed significantly to promoting positive and improved behaviors that led and contributed to the eradication of guinea worm. Through Peace Corps and other partnerships with Rotary and UNICEF, these communities were provided with improved water sources that contributed significantly to guinea worm eradication in Ghana. We are also talking about enhancing social cohesion and conflict prevention. So when we are able to implement development projects that will ensure that community members rally around these projects, they build trust whilst addressing their social needs. And by so doing, we strengthen the social fabric and prevent divisions that exist among communities. We can also empower women and vulnerable groups as a result of project implementation between Peace Corps and Rotary clubs. So both Rotary clubs and Peace Corps emphasize gender equality and inclusivity. Joint projects will often empower women by providing access to economic opportunities, to basic needs like water, sanitation, which will reduce the burden of diseases, the burden of collecting water, and then also create equal opportunity for girls to participate in education.
Roxanne, we need to allow some time for questions. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Wrap up. Yeah.
And if we do have any questions here, they were running right to the end of our time, and I appreciate everyone staying online. There's been excellent, very informative session today with Jacob Atem from the Lost Boys of Sudan, then Micklina Kenyi from the Lost Girls of Sudan, Ed Pettitt, also a member of the Partnering for Peace Board, and now Rockson Dutenya from Ghana Peace Corps staff. You've been an excellent audience, and I wish I could say hello to everyone who's online, because it's an impressive audience as well. But in the interest of time, do we have any questions, first of all?
Well, I would like to just also mention, Roxanne, you're also a Rotarian. So on the Peace Corps staff and working with the health projects, but also working with Rotary's WASH projects in Ghana.
Roxanne, would you be able to share your presentation, your PowerPoint? You might be able to actually post it on Partnering for Peace site, or we might be able to post it somewhere else.
Yes, I'll gladly do that.
I'm sorry that we've run out of time, but I wanted to wish everyone a good day, and it's just, I guess what you're doing to heal a divided world is very comforting to me, and to know that there are positive things happening. I appreciate all of you.
And we're on again tomorrow, right, Rosemary?
Yes, we are on tomorrow, same time, and we're going to be in Eastern Europe tomorrow. We'll be talking about the conflict around Ukraine. So it'll be centering on Moldova and Ukraine. Thursday evening at 7 o'clock Eastern time, we'll be in Central America. And then on Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern again, we'll be talking about tangible things that can be done, such as the training, peace training, and things that can be done to create to peace in our world. This is the schedule. You see that we have a long list of very impressive speakers coming up tomorrow, as well.
And I just shared the link tree that has all of the Zoom links for these sessions. So please open that, save it to your device so that you can easily access them.
Yes. Did you see the
That's
QR
right.
code down there at the bottom?
Yeah, actually, the link that Ed just talked about will take everybody to the links for the rest of the week. Thanks, Ed, for doing that.
Mm-hmm.
No problem.
And I appreciate your time, and thank you all for joining us today, and hope that you'll come join us again later in the week. This is now the second day after our week started, and it really started on Saturday, which was the UN Peace Day. So we're doing this in honor of UN Peace Day. Thank you all very much, and have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rosemary.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. So great to see all of you online.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.